Hello, beautiful viewers. Down south through the cosmos. Prepare to indulge in experiencing sheer bliss, because today I wanted to briefly commence my review about Toy Soldiers War Chest Hall of Fame Edition for the PlayStation 4 and for the Xbox One. Is this video game a paradigm of perfection? Is this video game the epitome of perfection? Is this video game the embodiment of resounding perfection? Or is this video game atrocious, abysmal, and egregious in all facets? That's subjective, so you'll have to determine that answer for yourself. Some people may love the game, other people may detest and disdain the video game. However, based on my sentiments, I believe that this video game warrants a 2 out of 10. Why is my rating so low, you may ask? Well, let me elucidate why. I feel as though this game does not deserve a score above 2 out of 10. I conferred a score of 2 out of 10 to this game for a multitude of reasons. First, the various armies, a part of the Toy Soldiers War Chest Hall of Fame Edition, are included as downloadable content. Why is this a calamity, you may ask? Well, once the Xbox Live servers for the Xbox One shut down, and once the PlayStation Network servers for the PlayStation 4 are no longer accessible, then it renders these 4 DLC armies moot and inaccessible. This is a major gripe of mine, because if you lack an internet connection and if you purchase this game, in the future you'll be unable to access all the content. The armies should have been embedded on the disc. Only 4 armies were incorporated on the disc. You'll have to redeem codes to unlock the other 4, so I presume that 8 armies are really encompassed on the disc, but they require redeemable codes in order to unlock, which renders only 4 armies accessible. If you procure the Hall of Fame edition of Toy Soldiers War Chest used without the downloadable content, it's just a calamity and a major issue, in my opinion, that could have been completely averted and could have been completely remedied had they released all the armies onto the disc without placing them behind paywalls or without mandating you to redeem codes in order to access them. Moving on, this game only has a small roster of armies. Presuming you redeem all the codes, you're only able to leverage 8 armies, which is relatively disappointing considering it's 2015. We want our games to be prodigious. We want our games to be inundated with content. We want army rosters to be significantly larger. There's just a lack of diversity in stark contrast to other games when you only have a roster of 8 playable armies. So this is another problem, in my opinion. The game should be comprised of at least 16 armies. It should be more dynamic. It should have more variety. I love the fact that you could leverage powerful heroes such as He-Man to ravage your adversaries. I love the fact that you could play as the G.I. Joe army, or the Cobra Commander army, or the Assassin's Creed army. However, even though this game does have novelties and it has unique gameplay elements, it's still not as refined as it could have been. People have been experiencing issues online. The online component is pivotal. If people are unable to connect properly online amid playing Toy Soldiers War Chest Hall of Fame Edition, then they'll be unable to play this game to its fullest. I hope that these issues have been remedied. Maybe Ubisoft has released patches and updates to rectify any connectivity issues and any other issues people have been experiencing with the online component of this game. But if that's not rectified, then it renders a major catastrophe within this game. It's quite a fiasco when people cannot utilize an online component within the game properly. It should have been refined prior to the advent of the game being released. Unfortunately, when these games launch, the online components are susceptible to lag, are susceptible to experiencing netcode issues, so there are a slew of problems that can be elicited when you insert the disc into your Xbox One's hard drive or into your PlayStation 4 or into your PlayStation 4's hard drive. But hopefully all those issues have been fixed and resolved and are no longer causing any major catastrophes from the perspective of a consumer who just splurged in order to procure a copy of Toy Soldier's War Chest Hall of Fame Edition. This game is mostly a tower defense game. The controls are seemingly intuitive. You need to defend your toy box. You can construct turrets. You can upgrade them. You can leverage various units. The gameplay does get redundant. It gets repetitive. The lack of variety is a major calamity. If you're not engrossed in the strategy genre, if you did not find it to be enthralling, and if you want a game with more content, then you may want to look elsewhere. But the fact that the armies are not all accessible on the disc and that you need redeemable codes to access them significantly decreases the game's score. The lack of variety in contrast to other video games such as Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 that had a roster of over 120 playable characters is a major issue because it causes the game to become relatively mundane and stale and redundant and even devoid of endless possibilities when you only have 8 playable armies at most. The online component not working properly amid its launch reduces a prospective review score for the game. Hopefully that's been rectified. However, it should have not been an issue. It could have been averted prior to the game's launch. The game developers tested it out and patched any issues in advance rather than post the release of the game, and the redundancy of the gameplay mechanics and the core components of the game presents a salient issue, since I did not want to be perpetually playing a game with very little depth and very little variety. So, based on this hefty retail price and based on the aforementioned issues, I'm going to have to give it a 2 out of 10. If they were to incorporate more content onto the disc, if they were to remedy the online issues prior to the game being released, if they were to add more gameplay modes, if they were to add free downloadable content for the game, then I would confer a much higher score to this game. However, as it stands now, for over $30 video game, objectively speaking, relative to all the other games out there, it just doesn't warrant its hefty premium price. If it was $10, it would certainly have more merit, but for over $30, I would recommend abstaining from buying it, refrain from buying it, neglect to buy it, and spend your money elsewhere. You can purchase a plethora of stellar, extraordinary, riveting, captivating, amazing video games for under $30. So be prudent with your money. Do not splurge on subpar video games, and you should not settle for these anti-consumer practices. All the armies should have been incorporated on the disc without requiring you to redeem codes to unlock them. It's just unfortunate, it's a calamity, and until Ubisoft can get their act together, I'm going to abstain from buying sequel games within this Toy Soldiers series, or within this War Chest series. I hope that you found this review to be insightful and enthralling. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Goodbye.